Greetings, my beautiful lovelies, it's Emmy. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be making a dessert using an ingredient that I wouldn't normally associate with desserts at all. I'm going to be using a non-dairy creamer, you know, the powdered stuff that you add by the scoopful into your coffee. I'm going to be using that to make a dessert. It's called a Cremora Tart, and it was brought to my attention by lovely Daphne. Daphne, thank you so much for sharing this recipe with me. Daphne actually lives in Hawaii, and a coworker shared this recipe with her, brought it into work, and she said that she's made it several times and loves it. It's called Cremora because that is the brand name of the non-dairy creamer that's used in this recipe. Another key ingredient in making this recipe are these. And these are tennis biscuits. I wasn't able to find these locally, so I ordered these online. And the first time I ever had a tennis biscuit was in my Emmy Eats South Africa video. If you missed that video, I will put a link down below. Because Daphne lives in the States and tennis biscuits are difficult to find, she substitutes graham crackers or a graham cracker crust. So what really intrigues me about this recipe is that the resulting tart or pie has a texture very similar to cheesecake, but there's no baking involved. There's only 4 or 5 ingredients, and a huge part of this recipe is this powder, which is coffee mate, which is non-dairy creamer. It contains no dairy. So something about the alchemy in this recipe creates a cheesecake-like dessert using this. So big thanks to Daphne and her coworker for sharing this recipe with me and for teaching me about Cremora Tart. So I'm going to be using the recipe that Daphne gave me for the filling, and for the crust, the recipe says that I can just take these tennis biscuits and lay them in the bottom of a pan. But when I was researching the recipe, there are some others that involve grinding up the tennis biscuits with some butter to create a kind of crumb crust, more similar to, say, a New York style cheesecake. So that's what I decided to do because I thought it would be a little bit richer. So I actually prepared the Cremora Tart last night because it does require some refrigeration, but I did not eat a tennis biscuit because I needed all of them to make my crust. So right now I'm going to give this a taste. It's been a few years now since I've had one of these. And look at this beautiful embossing on it. Isn't that beautiful? It says Baker's Tennis Biscuits, and it has these little stars all over it. 5 by 5, 25 stars on there, or flowers. It smells great. Nice and coconutty. It smells a little bit like suntan lotion. All right, let's give that a taste. Here we go. Itadakimasu. In terms of flavor, it's very similar to the coconut biscuits that you can get in Southeast Asia. Malaysia, Singapore have similar kind of buttery, coconutty biscuits. This seems to have a little bit of texture to it, maybe some desiccated coconut in there, but very nice coconutty flavor. The texture is a little bit different when we compare them to the South Asian style coconut biscuits. Those ones are a little flakier and crisper. These are a little bit more cookie-like and have a shorter crumb, more similar to, say, an animal cracker or even a Nilla wafer. But still relatively light. It would be a perfect dunking biscuit. When I ordered my tennis biscuits, I got 2, so these ones I'll be having with my coffee and tea, and the other one we're going to be using to create the tart. So one of the biggest perks about this recipe is that it comes together very quickly. You can certainly skip making the graham cracker crumb and just take your tennis biscuits and just lay them in an even layer in the bottom of your pan. And in that case, I would recommend using a rectangular or square pan because the biscuits are square. But to make the crumb crust, what you do is take an entire package of tennis biscuits, place them into a bag, and then use a rolling pin and crush the cookies till you get a nice crumb. Pour the cookies into a bowl and then add 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Mix everything together to incorporate the butter, and then pour your butter crumb mixture into a pan. Because I wanted a taller cake, I'm using a smaller diameter push-up pan, and I will put a link down below in the description in case you're interested. And then use something with a flat bottom and straight size measuring cup, or in this case I'm using a glass, to press the crumbs into the bottom of your pan. Next, you're going to place the crust into the refrigerator and allow it to cool up a bit while you're mixing your filling. So in a large bowl, you're going to combine 250 grams or 2 cups of Cremora or non-dairy creamer. To that, you're going to add 150 milliliters or half cup of cold water. It's going to look really dry in the beginning, but give it a little time. Try to work out as many of the lumps as possible. You can certainly use a mixer if you like, but a whisk is fine. And then you're going to add 1 can of condensed milk. So to this mixture, you're going to add 125 milliliters or a half cup of lemon juice. You're going to add this in little increments and do this slowly. And you can choose either to use bottled lemon juice or fresh. In this case, I chose to use fresh. So what's really cool, as you start to add the lemon juice and stir it in, you'll start to see the texture of the mixture change. It is just absolutely wonderful. The last 1/8 of a cup that I added, I saw a significant thickening of it, and it looks instantly like you have cheesecake mixture right in your bowl. It's absolutely impressive, beautiful, and magical. You're stirring it and it just gets thicker and thicker, and you should get this beautiful kind of creamy, smooth filling. It just happens right before your eyes. Absolutely lovely. And then pour this into your prepared crust. Smooth out the top, and then cover it and place it in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour or overnight, and that will allow the filling to set up. Alrighty, so here we are at this stage right here. This has been sitting overnight, and I can't wait to see and taste this tart. Look, it looks just like a cheesecake. Isn't that great? This is a push bottom pan, so the way it works is you push from below and it should release on the sides. Ready? Here we go. That is beautiful. Look at that. Ah, so happy about that. That is lovely. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and cut into this. I can't wait to taste it. Let's go ahead and cut into this. I can't wait. Okay, here we go. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, and it's definitely thickened up. Oh, came out beautifully. Look at that. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Look at that. It's like the perfect cheesecake. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, so I've transferred it to a gray plate so you can see it a little bit better, but look at that. It is the most pristine slice of cheesecake I've ever seen. It is so white. The cut was very clean. You didn't have to worry about any kind of setting. There's no cracking involved because there was no baking involved. No water baths. This is looking pretty lovely. All right, let's give this a taste. The non-dairy creamer Cremora Tart. Let's give it a go. Oh, it slices beautifully. There's no gelatin in this either. It almost looks like a jello the way it sets up. Alrighty, let's give this a taste. Itadakimasu. It's surprisingly rich. It is cheesecake-like. It is not cheesecake, but it's a nice dessert. You can definitely taste the tanginess of the lemon, although I don't think I can really specifically say it's lemon, but there is definitely some acidity, which reminds me of cream cheese. Cream cheese has a little bit of acidity to it. It has a lovely coconut flavor that comes from the coconut biscuits. The texture of the filling itself is very smooth and rich and sweet. And the amount of sweetness in there is really nice. Enough to make this dessert, but not so much that it makes it feel really cloyingly sweet or heavy. That can also be said about the filling as well. While it tastes and feels rich, it doesn't feel so dense. Very, very smooth texture. I think that's a little bit different than a regular cheesecake. It has a very smooth, almost kind of plasticky feel in your mouth, and not as dense as a cheesecake, but definitely in the same family. The flavor is different. It doesn't have quite that cream flavor to it. It is rich and it looks like a cheesecake, but it doesn't have that strong heaviness that cheesecake has. I think also what sets this apart from a regular cheesecake is the fact that we use tennis biscuits for the crust. It has a very strong flavor of coconut. If anything, it's coconutty, a little bit acidic, kind of cheesecake-like, but it's its own dessert because it's a Cremora Tart. I really like the inclusion of the lemon juice in here. I like the acidity. I like that subtle lemon flavor. It kind of cuts the kind of dairyness and the sweetness, and it's a nice complement to the sweetness of the coconut as well. It also reminds me a little bit of that kind of sour cream layer that you can sometimes find in cheesecakes. I like that balance of a little bit of acidity with the sweetness of a dessert. So there you have it, the South African Cremora Tart made out of non-dairy creamer. So cool. Big thanks again to Daphne and her coworker for sharing this recipe with me. Let me know down in the comments if there's some recipe that you'd like to share with me, that you'd like to see me test out and try. I'm always curious and looking for new things. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy that one. I hope you guys learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Tennis?